It's like this is the clearest like fixed fight you're ever gonna see. But look at this guy holding his hands up and watch. Watch this. He like literally shows him his chin, like, and he goes down. It's so fake. Look at, I mean, he's got nothing. It's like a guy who just learned boxing yesterday.
World title in everyone's imagination. That's the heavyweight champ. You were here. Everyone else was here. But since then, the feeling has been Joshua makes all this money fighting anyway, 30 million pounds, whatever it is. Why should he take 40 or 50 to fight Wilder when he's making against anybody? He can make 30, 40 million pounds, whatever it is.
No fantasy contracts, just reality. You know, bringing our work to the table and bargaining and negotiating what we're worth and making this.
This story doesn't end with a knockout. It ends with whispers of lawsuits, reputations burned, and a heavyweight legacy staring into a crater. So I'm pulling us backward, because if you blink, you miss the exact moment the spine of boxing bends. You need to see how this spiraled from a quiet room into a public implosion. The consequence here is bigger than money, bigger than pride. It's about whether anything you're watching is even real anymore. And no, this shouldn't be real. Except it is. And that's the problem.
Jake Paul is so relevant because he's found a way to bypass promoters and make money in the boxing rings instead of being a prisoner to the promoters. Even though he didn't fight anybody, he's about to fight Anthony Joshua, and we'll see what happens with that. Anthony Joshua should knock him into tomorrow because he's the bigger fighter with incredible power, but he's got a glass jaw. So if Jake Paul catches him, who knows?
The moment the story surfaced, it didn't sound like the usual noise that's...
When this first surfaced, it didn't sound like the usual background noise. This wasn't trash talk. This wasn't hype. It felt like a door cracking open, just enough to let something ugly leak through. Influence. Leverage. A suggestion so poisonous it could rot an entire division. Because when Anthony Joshua speaks calmly, without theatrics, and drops a line that lands heavy, that's not noise. That's a warning shot. And you felt it. Your stomach reacted before your brain...
Not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you that, Jake, what's going to happen? I'm going to see a time when I'm going to take your soul and you're either going to give up or you're going to get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter. So I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. But as we saw tonight, Jake has spirit.
Here's the twist. It didn't explode into the open. It crept out quietly, in a space where masks usually fall. That's the unsettling part. This wasn't someone chasing headlines. This was a heavyweight explaining why certain fights feel off, why some doors never open, and why money keeps knocking louder than integrity. And tell me you don't hear that problem getting closer.
Out there that are going, Jake deserves credit, this is amazing, he's gone 6 rounds with Anthony Joshua. He hasn't gone 6 rounds with Anthony Joshua, he spent 5 rounds on his bloody bike, and the other diving for cover. Come on, let's get real about what happened last night. The dude basically used the greedy to hoodwink the stupid. Fair play to the kid, man. He made 50 million plus. I mean, someone's just sent me a message saying that they did 90 million. Respect. There's people out there saying, oh, he kept getting dropped multiple times and getting up. No, he didn't. Stop lying.
You want the shock. Fine. The shock is that power now believes it can negotiate outcomes. That legacy can be penciled in, erased, rewritten. And when that idea even brushes against a fighter built on sanctioned pain and earned scars, something breaks. Because fighting isn't content. The second you treat it like content, chaos walks in. And yes, someone out there thought Anthony Joshua could be managed like a brand asset.
AJ, do you think Jake is on your level whatsoever?
No. No, okay. Respectfully. Because it's clear. If I say yes, I'm going to be lying to myself, and I can't lie to myself. It's not that he can't compete,
right.
But when you talk about, for example, music, how many albums I've put out, how many mixtapes I've put out,
yeah.
He just hasn't got the body of work I've got in boxing.
Gotcha.
I already hear the excuses, miscommunication, jokes taken wrong, strategy talk. But listen to the tone. Listen to the restraint. Calm is the tell. When a man refuses the circus and simply draws a boundary that speaks louder than any accusation. And here's the question nobody wants to ask. If this was offered here, who else heard it? Who else nodded? Who else stayed quiet?
Moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's two things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and I decided to put the pressure on. What I could have done better is a lot of things. 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are...
This is where the psychological knife turns. Boxing survives on uncertainty, the belief that once the bell rings, anything can happen. Poison that belief and you don't just cheapen one night, you devalue decades. Every fan feels it, even if they can't name it. That creeping doubt. That whisper asking whether the dice were loaded before the gloves ever touched.
Anthony Joshua. And the reason has everybody side-eyeing this whole situation. From what's being said, Jake is claiming Anthony Joshua went off script. And when I say off script, I mean there was supposedly a no knockout clause, or at least very specific fight rules, and Joshua hitting Jake so hard that his jaw got dislocated in 2 places was not part of that agreement. Jake's basically saying that punch crossed the line from just boxing into what he's calling malicious intent.
And don't get this twisted, this isn't about hating crossover money. It's about control, narrative ownership, someone thinking they can storyboard violence. And when that idea hits a fighter who built leverage the hard way, the refusal becomes the story. That refusal scared people, because it reminded them not everyone is for sale.
Paul gets knocked out predictably by Anthony Joshua in tonight's fight. Now, I am torn on this fight. When it first started and Joshua was giving it, I'm thinking, oh, here we go again. It's the Tyson fight again. We're talking about 2 fighters who are pretending. It looked like a Rocky fight at the start. Joshua was afraid to let go. He was just like tapping. Let Jake get a few punches and everything. And then I'm thinking, hang on, I'm torn between 2.
Pause here, because this is the part that should make your skin crawl. The aftermath wasn't denial. It was fog. And fog is where speculation breeds. Clips get replayed. Fans connect dots, promoters hope stay disconnected. And trust me, there's more under this. More unsaid. Because saying it would light a fuse...
If Jake is really saying this fight was supposed to follow a script, then what does that say about the event, the Vegas crowd, the betting money, all of that? Because that opens up a whole different conversation nobody wants to touch. He's allegedly claiming Anthony Joshua could be on the hook for something like $20 million for violating the rules and going beyond what was agreed upon. But let's be real for a second. This is boxing. People get hit. Jaws get broken. That's literally the risk you take stepping into.
The reaction split wasn't random. It was tribal. One side needs the spectacle to stay clean. The other needs the sport to stay sacred. When those worlds collide, the fallout isn't loud at first. It's whispers, careful statements, people choosing words like they're walking on glass. That tells you
where the 2 parties are going to meet, talk, discuss, have this. Just watch this video.
And mentally.
It's already written.
Where?
In the history books, brother.
In yours, not mine.
No, it is. You'll see. There's only one God, and God wrote it.
You see with Jake, what I learned about Jake is that he's a mental person. This is my observation. Not only the physical aspects of training, but the way he thinks, meditation, breath work. If I can break his soul, and I can break his mentality.
Here's the real time bomb. Once the idea of a script enters the bloodstream, every punch gets questioned. Every slow round looks suspicious. Every tactical pause feels sinister. Fans stop watching fights and start auditing them. That's not entertainment. That's mistrust. And mistrust spreads faster than any promotion.
Was he carrying Jake Paul? Was he carrying Jake Paul because of the script with the mentality of knocking him out before time? Or was Joshua not wanting to potentially hurt this guy? Like hurt him. Like, he was throwing single punches, sometimes the odd 1 or 2s. You know what I mean? The first 4 rounds, you're talking like 8 punches to 5 punches. And he was like, I was thinking now, there's some sort of...
I keep thinking about what wasn't said. Joshua didn't posture. He didn't grandstand. He didn't milk the moment. And that restraint makes the implication heavier. Men chasing clout don't move like that. Men protecting lines they won't cross do. If this makes you uncomfortable, good. Comfort is how rot survives.
The script just got leaked and the details are absolutely insane. This script goes back to the initial promotion where he was supposed to fight a super underweight Gervonta Davis. But we now learn this fight was never supposed to happen. The plan was always to fight Anthony Joshua, but they started with a villain arc by positioning him against someone 70 pounds lighter. So when he goes to fight someone heavier instead, he looks like a hero underdog instead of the initial side. But that's just the beginning. The script for the actual fight is set up for it to go the distance and Paul to be awarded the win by decision.
Here's the last uneasy thought. If something like this could be casually floated to a global star, imagine the pressure on fighters without leverage, without platforms, without exits. Quiet deals. Ambiguous contracts. Nods that mean more than words. Don't tell me that world doesn't exist. And yeah, I hear the legal talk, the threats, the numbers. Boxing has always been dangerous. That's the bargain. But the moment risk becomes a violation of a plan, the sport flinches. Now the ring isn't a proving ground. It's a liability. And that shift should scare everyone. Because this isn't finished. Not even close. Networks are watching. Sponsors are recalculating. Young fighters are learning. Old ones are rethinking moments they didn't question before. Somewhere, someone is sweating because a boundary was drawn publicly and they don't know how to step around it. I'll leave you unsettled on purpose. Too many gaps. Too many careful words. And when the next reveal drops, it won't come gently. It'll come fast, messy, and boxing might not recognize